Welcome to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast, where we share tips, techniques, and true stories to support you in using the law of attraction and alchemy to create magic and live the life of your dreams. Here's your host, the founder of dailyalchemy.com, Michelle Martin Dobbins.
Hey there, it's Michelle Martin Dobbins from dailyalchemy.com, and today I want to talk about a subject most of us don't really like: bad days. Yeah, you ever have a bad day? We all have sometimes, right? And I want to talk to you today about why bad days are blessings. I know they don't really seem like blessings a lot of times. They seem like something that we want to avoid, but I want to tell you why having a bad day is good news. And I am not doing this from some pie in the sky, I'm happy all the time place. I have bad days too, and I've had kind of a string of bad days recently that have woken me up, and I wanted to share with you my tips for seeing the blessings in bad days and kind of how I deal with them. So I'm going to give you 4 reasons that bad days might be blessings. In fact, not might be, they are. And like a lot of blessings, sometimes they come in disguise and we don't notice that they're blessings at first. And that's totally okay. The sooner we realize it, the easier it is to get through them. But it doesn't matter if we don't notice the blessing until later. Okay, the first reason that bad days are blessings is because they make good days that much better, right? I think that's why we live in a world of duality, because how do we know what's good? What is a good day if we haven't had a bad day? And for me, it's kind of like that analogy of like when you're really hungry and for whatever reason you've had a crazy day or whatever and you haven't eaten all day and you sit down to a meal and it's like the best food ever because you haven't eaten all day. So when you have had some rough days, then when you have a good day and things are going your way, it's just that much sweeter. So even if it's just for that reason, then I can take a bad day now and then to help me remember how good the good days are. Okay, next one is they give you an opportunity, a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to practice being happy no matter what is going on the outside, which is an extremely valuable life skill and one that I am not going to claim to have mastered. Sometimes I feel like I'm pretty good at it. Sometimes I'm not. And I think that's all fine. And we're all learning and evolving and growing. And no, I don't want you to put on a fake happy face. That is absolutely not what I mean. And I don't think that's good for any of us. I'm a big believer in feeling your feelings because I think they're there for a reason. They're there to let you know where you're at right in this moment and what your thoughts are bringing and what you're focusing on. And it's okay if you're sad, and it's okay if you're mad, and it's okay if you feel grief. And for me, the biggest tip to get back to that happy place is to sit and feel those feelings. And, sometimes you're just having a little bad day though, right? Like sometimes your bad day is it rained when you wanted to go to the park and you had a bad hair day and, your favorite restaurant was closed down for the day, whatever. Something, all these little tiny things that just kind of say, that's a great bad day to practice being happy anyway. And just changing your thoughts and saying, oh, it's raining. Well, I'm going to play in the rain, or I'm going to do, something inside that I wanted to do, and changing that story and making all the little tiny irritating things something good and something to celebrate. And yeah, it's a practice. And you might ask, well, why would I want to do that? To get happy, to learn how to focus on what's good in any given moment. And days where things don't seem to be going right are a perfect time to do that. Okay, so number 1 is they make the good days so much better, bad days. That's one reason why they're blessing. Another is they give you a practice of being happy no matter what happens on the outside. Number 3 is they help you let go of old baggage. And I'll explain a little bit more about what I mean about that. And that kind of goes back to what I touched on the last one, which is, yeah, you do want to feel the feelings. But, if it's something little like your hair, change it. If you're a person like me who has a history in the past of having problems with depression, anxiety, and just a side note, if you do, there is absolutely no shame or problem. In fact, I would ask you to seek medical treatment if you feel like you need it at all. I did in the past, and now I've learned through meditation and other ways to deal with that. But sometimes life starts moving faster, or I just have enough day, or sometimes those old anxieties and stuff come up. And I have learned that that's a wonderful thing, especially if it just comes up and there's I don't know why it's coming up. It's just coming up. Or even if I know, I've been too busy. I've put too much on my plate. But when those feelings come up, they don't feel good, but I get excited about them now because I've learned a process of, okay, I'm feeling anxious. I'm going to sit with this and I'm going to be with myself and I'm going to feel it. And I talk myself through it like I'm my own best friend. And I know this is a rough time for you, but I am here for you. And I imagine myself putting, my arm around my shoulder. It's okay. We're just going to feel this. And then I just try to dive deep into that feeling in my body. And this is definitely a process that you practice. And it's one that I've practiced so long that I've gotten pretty good at. It was hard for me at first, but I've done it for years now. And when these feelings come up, I know that when I feel them and I'm okay with them and I don't resist them and I don't try to get rid of them, they go away. And sometimes it takes a day or two. And sometimes I have to sit down 3 or 4 times, over a day or over 2 or 3 days. And I let that be okay. Whenever those feelings well up, doesn't matter where I am. If I am at the office, I'll, shut my office door or I'll go in the bathroom for 3 or 4 minutes and sit and feel what I need to feel. And this is kind of a big topic. And I work through that with you in the, it's a free eKit called 5 Minutes to Revamp Your Vibe. And it's on my website at the very top at dailyalchemy.com. And I'll also put a link in the show notes because I don't want to go on and on too much here. But when feelings come up and you feel them, you're doing what we're meant to do, to process emotions. And by feeling emotions, I do not mean running the story. Okay, you all know that story. When you get upset, like somebody cut you off and you're just like in your mind, or somebody said something that hurt your feelings and your mind just goes on day after, well, I could have said this, I should have said this. Well, why did they say this? Well, what were they thinking? And blah, 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 blah. That's not what I'm talking about when I'm feeling the feeling. That's telling the story. That you want to nip in the bud as quickly as possible. Then that feeling that is fueling that story, you want to sit with that and feel that feeling. Feel it in your body. Feel how it feels in your body. Is it a burning in your throat, a tightness in your chest? Whatever the sensations are of that feeling, just sit and feel it. And one of the reasons I really ground deeply into feeling how it feels in my physical body is because when I focus on that, I can't focus on the story, because the story takes you nowhere. It's the train to nowhere. It just keeps going around in a circle, and you'll just keep telling it over and over and over. And I'm not saying it doesn't feel bad, but when you do that, you're not actually feeling the feeling. It feels bad, but you're not feeling it. You're not processing it. You're not accepting it. And so it just keeps going around, around, around. And it's not the train that you want to ride. You want to get off that train, sit down in the train station, and take a breath and feel everything. And then you can get up and walk away free. And I'm not saying that the feeling doesn't ever come back. But when it comes back, you know what to do. You sit down and you feel it again. It's simple, but it's not easy, as a lot of spiritual practices are. But it does get easier. It gets so much easier. And I'm not there, but I know people and know of people who have done these practices for so long that there's not a whole lot, and in some cases, maybe nothing that disturbs that peace that they have. So one person, I would highly recommend you read his books. I have just recently listened to both of his audiobooks and just love them. And I mentioned them in another podcast, but I'm mentioning them again because they're fabulous. The Surrender Experiment and The Untethered Soul are the two books, and they're by Michael A. Singer. And he kind of describes his process of, meditating and Eastern philosophy that he learned to a point that even when he was, arrested for something he didn't do, he never actually spent jail time, but he had to go through this whole legal process and lost his position in a company that he created. It didn't affect his emotions and his souls, not on any long-term basis. And in fact, he talked about being in the courtroom and looking at all the people in there with just love, just like filled with love for the people in the courtroom, the jurors and the judge and the prosecuting attorney. So if you can get to that point, wow, it's definitely on my goal to keep meditating, to keep processing my feelings and letting them be and letting them flow through, because they don't get stuck. That's what people get confused about. You think if you feel some of these really deep, scary feelings, you're going to get stuck in them forever. But the opposite is what is really true. If you feel them, then you become free from them. And I'm not saying that happens necessarily overnight. Sometimes it does take, days or weeks. And sometimes, in a case of really strong things, it may come back, now and then. But how about those feelings that you've been running from? The ones you've been running from for ever? And they're still there chasing you. But if you stop and you face them and you feel them, you'll be okay. And anyway, I've gone on for a lot longer on this, but sometimes a bad day is something that triggers these old emotions that are stuck in your body that you didn't really feel. And it's a great opportunity just to sit down and feel them. So to recap a little bit, number 1 was they make good days feel better. Number 2 is you get to practice being happy no matter what's going on the outside. Number 3, they help you let go of old baggage. And number 4, which is a big, huge one. Okay. Bad days. Sometimes, everybody has bad days sometimes, but bad days can be a wake-up call. And if you are having bad day after bad day after bad day after bad day, I think it's a message. It's telling you that you need to make some changes in your life. And so it's great. It's a wake-up call. It's telling you you're out of alignment. Maybe you're working in a field that doesn't serve you, that doesn't give you the opportunity to be who you are. Maybe you're a creative person and you're not allowing yourself to have a creative outlet. And I'm not saying you have to get up in the morning and quit your job, but maybe you can add a way to add some creativity to your day. I'm not saying you have to make radical, huge changes and, get divorced, quit your job, run away and join the circus, but you might. So just, if you find yourself having a lot of bad days, if you're not happy more than you're sad, then something needs to change. And, if you feel like it's a clinical thing, a medical thing, definitely get help for it. And if you feel like it's a lifestyle change, and here's the thing that I get with the depression and the anxiety so many times, and sometimes people need to get medical help to be able to make other changes, and that's perfectly legitimate. But if you're living a life that is not the life that you're meant to live, and I can't tell you what life you're meant to live, but I can tell you this, in your heart if you're not. In your heart if you're not in the right place and you're not doing the right things for you. And if you keep doing those and you just go take a pill to dampen the symptoms of not living the life that you want to live, then it's not going to get better. It's just going to get numb. And numb is not a fun place to live, my friend. And so, I ask you to take baby steps. If you're having bad days every day, find one thing that you can be happy about in your day. And find one change that you can make that brings more joy to your day. And add on to it. Unless your heart calls you to make a really, really big change. And I can't tell you what to do, but I've made some big changes sometimes in my life too. Probably not as many as some, but sometimes you need to move. Sometimes you need to move to a new city. Sometimes you need to move mentally. Sometimes you need to move to a new job. And sometimes you just need to wake up and really experience what's going on around you. And being more fully alive in your present situation will bring happiness. So I know I've given you a lot of things in this podcast, but I do want you to know that bad days are blessings because they're messengers. They're giving us that opening either to, if they're just little bad days, they give us reasons to practice and to let go of old junk. And if it's an ongoing thing, it lets us know that we need to make a change. And I know change is scary, but you can do it. And so if you need support with that, like I said, mental health professionals are great. You can reach out to me. I am not a mental health professional, but I am great at helping people process their emotions. And there are lots of people online and family members and friends, and you don't have to go through a bad day alone. But you do have to feel your feelings. No one else can do it for you. And that sounds really scary, but I promise you, this crazy thing is feeling your feelings is not as hard as running from them. So I hope that you have many, many more good days than bad days. And let me know how you deal with your bad days, and maybe I can share some other tips from other people. You can reach out to me at dailyalchemy.com. That has all of my Twitter, Facebook, etc. places, and you can send me email via the little envelope link there on the top right-hand side of the page. And so go out today and enjoy your day. Be present in your day, be it good or bad. And may it be wonderful, though. Go create as much magic as you can today. Namaste, and big hugs to everyone, especially those of you who are having a bad day. May tomorrow be infinitely better. Hey guys, the Magical Life Manifesting Club is temporarily closed to new members right now. I am revamping and revising and adding all sorts of sparkly new stuff, and it will be opening back up in May. But right now, I've got some fun freebies for you to play with while you're waiting for the club to open back up. You can get a free weekly manifesting planner and daily manifesting planner that you can use depending on what type you prefer. Also, there's a magical lunar planner, an angel assignment planner, money tracker to watch your money manifesting grow, a daily love list PDF, and a Revamp Your Vibe in 5 minutes eKit. And all of these are available free on Daily Alchemy. So to get to them, you can either go to dailyalchemy.com and scroll down till you see the button that says freebies, and it will take you to the page where you can sign up to get these. Or you can also put dailyalchemy.com/Magical Freebie Vault, and there is a link in the show notes. So go on over and pick those up and let me know how they work for you. Namaste.
Thanks for listening to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast. Connect with me on thedailyalchemy.com or Facebook at facebook.com/Michelle Dobbins author. Join us next time for even more magical life tips.